Do you like backpacking gadgets? Who doesn't like backpacking gadgets? My name's David, and today on this episode, I'm gonna be going over some cheap backpacking gadgets I'm gonna be testing out in 2024. I'm gonna give you guys a full overview. I'll be doing full comprehensive reviews on this stuff once I fully put it to its test, but I know backpacking gear, it comes and goes so quickly, whether it's a backpacking pot, a stove, a bag. Things move quickly in the backpacking world. Sometimes something's available, then it's gone. Let's break down this stuff. Maybe some of it piques your interest. And throughout the year, I'll let you know which stuff has really held up the best and stuff that'll be getting a permanent spot in my bag. So first off, we're gonna go left to right here. I've got this. This is more of a car camping thing or van lifing thing. Before and after a hike, you're not obviously bringing this on a hike, but this is a solar shower. So all it is just a black bag. You fill this full of water, you go down to a river, fill it up, and you let this hang in the sun. It'll heat up in the hot sun, and then you can have a shower. So all you're gonna do is take this hose off, you attach it. So you can see here, you fill all the water up in the top, clamp it down, you got this hose nozzle. There's just like a little shower hose. You basically wanna hang this up as high as you can so you can get underneath this. It's gravity fed. There's just a little tap here you turn on. Something I'll be using maybe deep in the backcountry if I'm not coming back for a while. Often this is a lot nicer option than jumping in a river. I find I don't jump in rivers as much as I'd like to when I need to shower. I just end up stinking up my vehicle because they get so cold, especially in the Canadian Rockies. Next up is a trowel. So this one I found pretty cheap. I think it was only around 10 bucks. It has the razor's edge here so you can cut through roots and hard ground and stuff. I got this off of AliExpress. A lot of this stuff's off AliExpress. I like testing out the really cheap stuff because often this stuff will come over to America and Canada and then some reseller just doubles the price. It's the same product. They might stamp their name or logo on there, but you know, you're not getting the best value. Often the best value is going straight to China. Next up is a stove I'm really excited about. I found this little guy. I don't even know what its name was. Doesn't really have a name. It did come with this, so you can put this kind of on there. It doesn't really fit perfectly, but it's good enough. The idea of this is you just get one of those little block fuel canister things, those little tablets, and then you light that on fire. It does have a divot in here, so you could potentially put some alcohol, liquid alcohol in there. It has holes though, so you'd have to get it right in there, or maybe put it on the outsides. Just kind of squirt a bit of that alcohol if you're kind of an alcohol stove user. So this is a great 3-season solution that I'm excited about. I can bring this, especially shoulder seasons when I'm backpacking up back in the backcountry, September, October. Not having to bring a stove and a fuel canister, all this. I believe these weigh like 211, yeah, it says right here, 211 grams when they're full. This one weighs 138 right now. If I can just reduce all of this completely, then that'd be a big win. I'd just be taking little sticks and some moss and whatever else and just stuff it in there. It folds down, you can see. So it's a pretty small little brick. You can easily just toss that like in the outside of your bag there or something. Next up is a small saw. This thing was only like $2. Surprisingly, this little cardboard sheath does work. I've got this orange one. So you can see here, this is just, you put it across, it's got this really sharp metally material here. This one is more like scissors. You can see here. I wouldn't be surprised if they just took some scissors and kind of jerry-rigged it. It looks like that's exactly what they did. You add in this thing, like this is a pretty simple light setup. I should note too, for these saws, they do work. I cut this branch off just before this video. I wanted to film it outside. It's raining out there, but you can see it cut it off with ease. To cut this off, I used this blue one because it's the lightest weight one. I figure, you know what? Let's test the one I'm more likely to bring, the lightest one. Oh, that cuts. That definitely cuts. It's making a mess. That cut through it. That actually was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. So this thing is surprising for how small it is. Could you cut through a big tree with this? Maybe. But I'm guessing even if it was like a few inches thick, you could cut through it with this thing. It might take a little while, but this is more designed for this. Just cut off little sticks like this. Right, so you light a fire and off you go. So obviously you want to cut these smaller so they all fit in there. And with all that cooking, you're gonna need something to eat out of. I can obviously eat out of the pot that comes with, but I've been tempted to try out some of these folding bowls. You'll notice this one's from China, so it's not, there's only one company, I can't remember the name, that makes these folding bowls. So it's a bowl and it is sealed, and you can see it's just folded together, right? So it does contain, if you wanted to put soup in there or whatever, I'm sure that would perfectly hold it. I haven't used this yet, but you could definitely use that as a plate too. Next up, I have these little camp booties. Now this is something I've never used before. So I decided just to try these ones. These are Lixada. These are like the cheap brand. There's no point getting the really expensive brand if it's something I'm not going to use at all. I have been wearing these around my house because, as you can see here, my walls. My house doesn't have insulation. It's freezing cold right now. With that said, I have used these around my house, not outside yet, in a tent, etc. But these do surprisingly contain the warmth coming off my feet. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this so far for how cheap these are. If you're someone who really likes these kind of camp booties and something you always wear to camp, you might want to invest in a much more expensive one. Next up, I've already talked about this one a few times now. This is the Fire Beaner. I quite like this thing already. It's got a little flint on here, so you just put your thumb on there and boom, you start your fires like that. I like having multiple solutions to start fires, but I like an easy solution, which is what this is. I always bring a lighter and matches, but this is just so much easier when it's hanging right off my bag. I've always got carabiners on my bag for holding gear, my drone, etc. on my bag. And this one comes with a little screwdriver thing, which I use on my camera plates to tighten them. It's always a pain in the butt. I'm always digging around trying to find a dime or something in my bag. This one also has a thing for cutting paracord. Next up, I'm testing out this sort of system, a water flask system. This is the Ultimate Direction 40. And with this bag, it has this running style harness, and this is basically all I use now. But one thing it has here is these large pouches, and they're basically kind of designed to put water flasks in there. So it's just really easy when you can pull out your water and drink straight out of there. So I want to test this out. With that said, I made a video about this thing. This is a water hose that attaches to a water bottle, so you get kind of the ultralight solution without having one of those big stinky rubbery water bladders, which is much better. For the most part, this system works really well. It's just there's other systems I want to test out, including this style. The key with this though is to have not just a normal water bag, because I don't want to be having to filter water from my big Catadine bag, this thing, into this and then drink out of it. That's a pain in the butt. The big Catadine bags are great for being able to just collect 3 liters of water, and then you can get to camp and filter it and drink it and cook with it, etc. But it'd be nice if I could use, I have 2 of these Catadine filters, if I could use this one in here. Now, sadly, this is a 42 millimeter and this is, I think, 41 or 40. It doesn't quite fit, which is annoying, but so I'll be looking at some other options. There's, I think, Hydro Pack sells one. There's a couple companies that sell these little mini ones. These are, what is this one, 500, I think? I would have 2 filters. If one backs up, I can just swap them and just keep going. There's no trying to like swish it and clean it and all that kind of stuff. So, and finally, I've got a Backcountry Bedet. Now, I do have, I think, 4 or 5 more of these coming in. This is the Kulo Clean. So this is the popular one most people know about in North America. It's not cheap for what it is. I think it's like 10 bucks or so US, 18 bucks Canadian. They're not cheap, but how this works, you take basically any bottle, and there's just kind of 2 different sizes of O-rings on there, and you just jam it in there. It's just friction. It doesn't screw in there. Squeeze it in there. There's no way when you squeeze water this is coming out, because I took a lot of force to get it in there. There's just a vertical slot here, and then it's a bidet. You wash your butt with it. You know, you flip it over, you stick it near your cornhole, and you you wash it out. I first heard about these on Justin Outdoors channel. He's mentioned Backcountry Bidets more than anyone I've ever heard in my life. So I thought, you know what? I'm a bidet user at home, and I'll link it up down below. I have a bidet here that just, it kind of hooks into your water system and your water line of your toilet, and it is the greatest thing ever. I know a lot of people in North America are like, oh, bidet, that's so weird. But anyone who's ever been to Thailand or Southeast Asia, and they have bidets everywhere there. That's what they do. And you get so used to it, and it's just so much cleaner and nicer to use a bidet. Now, I will say in Thailand, some of them, they have like just a garden hose that's water is always coming out of, and you just stick your thumb in there. That's a little crude, but the one you can hook up to your toilet at home is amazing, amazing. So I figure, you know what? I'm already a bidet user. Let's try out the Backcountry Bedet here. I will say, Justin, you do you, buddy, but I will not be doing his full bidet routine he has. He uses like some soap, some hand sanitizer soap stuff, and then he uses his hand as the toilet paper to really dig in there with his hand and his fingers or whatever. That's not for me. I'll bring toilet paper and a bidet. That's the best of both worlds. You use this, you wash yourself, clean up with toilet paper. It's all good. It's all good. But stay tuned. I do have not only the Kulo Clean to test out, I'll be using a different one on every trip, but I have, I think, 5 or 6 more of these things, because in China they have so many more products that we just don't get here. So I'm shipping them all over here, and we'll test them all out and see which one's the best one. Some of them have like a long little tip nozzle. Some of them are, there's just different shapes and sizes to them. I also have this here, which is just a typical water bottle, and it has a cap, right? So I figure, you know what, if we're gonna test them out, we'll test out the Kulo Clean and all those other Chinese ones I buy, and we'll test out just using a normal cap on a water bottle. So if you're just to stick that in there and try to wash, how does that compare? This video got kind of weird. And that's okay. So hopefully you guys got some good value here, learning about all the different stuff that I'm gonna be testing out gadget wise, the cheap stuff for this year, 2024. Be sure to subscribe. See you in the next one.